Sony CSL located in neither in academia or not a pure corporate research lab. We are in a very unique positions. We are obliged to take advantage of that position for the good of society. And that's why I ask researchers to not just to satisfy their curiosity, but also turn discovery into the society.
Sony Computer Science Laboratories was established back in 1988 in Tokyo as a 100% subsidiary of Sony Group Corporation. Since then, we have expanded to Paris, Kyoto, and Rome. We are a very small lab, yet our mission is very ambitious: to do research for the future of humanity and our planet. We aim to contribute to society, industry, and Sony through fundamental yet applicable research. Society, industry, and Sony. This order is very important since our researchers, they each have the freedom to choose their own paths and also their research themes, and to challenge the world with their ideas and vision.
I guess we are trying to challenge the conventional assumption of the humanity and also how we define the human and the humanity. Because we are now at the tipping point of the huge destructive challenge and also destructive change of the humanity. So like for instance, we define the human as a very conventional way, but now the human and computer is now integrated. I think not only myself is not enough. So I think I need to do it with others, with sharing our concept, the vision, because we have some background assumption of we have only one life. But I guess this could be also changed because of we will get a new definition of the humanity. So I think our potential of the life is not limited.
Because computing is something that we didn't really invent. It is already discovered by nature somehow. And basically people thought before that physics was the master science, and then we had maybe biology and other science on top of physics. But now people realize that computing is really a fundamental aspect of science, and maybe this will be the most fundamental science, and we need to better understand the magic of computing and its possibilities, so for intelligence now, but also for other possibilities, new vista of computing. We hope to teach people how to get into the field, so especially young stars and very young PhD or postdoc to get interested into the topic. So it's not only something that hopefully I hope it's not something that I can do alone, but every science has some pioneers, right? So I hope we can push the frontier now and to open new vista for new young researchers to enter the field.
I think there's a hidden social assumption that people who don't fit in have to work harder, pay more money, and pay more time to fix them so that they can thrive better. And I mean, sometimes it's necessary, but we are trying to build this concept, barrier-free or mental barrier-free, to highlight that there are so many things that societies and the surroundings can be changed for them. So instead of changing them, why don't we change the society?
So I'm tackling the problem of how to extract information from data. This is probably a universal problem for humanity. My research is very interesting to me. For example, some dynamic approach prompts us to consider the nature of statistical science. And qualitative research seems to me requires philosophical consideration.
But actually, uncertainty is opening cracks anyway in our lives. And probably we should mention the kintsugi in Japanese, where you actually fill cracks with gold power, make it even better than before. So somehow, the cracks and the uncertainty could actually open, new options and new opportunities for all of us. And I guess we should embrace uncertainty at this level, at so many levels actually. And of course, I do this in my research, because in my research, especially about what we call social dynamics, so the dynamics of societies, how people interact and create structures and patterns. It's very important, to understand that we cannot predict everything, like we would do, for instance, for a solar eclipse or for, the passage of a comet, actually. So in this perspective, I guess what we do is not only myself, of course, but a huge community in this area is actually trying to embrace uncertainty in order to create good modeling schemes in order to reply to this kind of questions.
I try to give all my energy to research. Every day of the week and every minute of the day. Because my research themes, qualia and ikigai, is about life itself. So, whatever I do, with whomever I speak with, I always think of my research themes. But actually, I must say that I'm driven by curiosity. If my curiosity brings me on a journey which would carry me to a point where the held assumptions about what we are, where we are, and where we're going are broken, I think that's going to be really great. But curiosity actually is my first priority.
So I work in sustainable farming. So in a way, it says itself, it's about making farming sustainable. There are a number of issues with current agriculture that are well documented. I won't go too much into detail about this. Loss of biodiversity, loss of soil health. I'm trying to work on farming methods that doesn't have those side effects. Now, it's a kind of difficult because on the one hand, farming is, challenging, economically challenging, but also physically challenging. So we try to help with that. But also, I think it's sort of more generally, I think it's also about what we value as a society. There are a number of jobs that are meaningful, even though they're not necessarily economically. And we have to see how we can keep these meaningful jobs while still combining them with advanced technologies.
My research has two pillars of it. One is to expand human creativity by finding new design schemes for artificial structures, and another one is to develop a new simple construction strategy, or something like fabrication strategy. So this could help transform existing architecture system, construction industry.
What else could be more important for the humanity and the planet without thinking about biodiversity and global environment, because this is a very foundation of our daily life and civilization and how humanity can thrive on this planet. I believe there's nothing more interesting than that. I didn't even think about originality and how hard it will be, because I was just enjoying and at the same time very serious, but quite essential thing that I had the calling that I have to do that. That's why I'm living as a scientist, and that's what I mean with science. Yeah, so that's it.
So recently I'm focusing on astrobiology, so trying to find life in the universe, and especially agnostic biosignature, which just means looking for life, but life that is not like Earth life. We only know one type of life, so we're trying to usually find other types of life that are similar to Earth life, but I want to focus on signatures of life that are not focused on what we know about life on Earth right now. So that's probably the most original part of my focus. It's not the kind of research that will have any kind of short-term gain, or even if tomorrow we actually find some interesting types of bacteria on an exoplanet, your life will not change, my life will not change. But it will be a huge shift, I think, in the mindset of humans. For now, we're just alone in the universe, and people are often kind of, anxious about it. Or we have to go to a different planet, and we have to go to Mars because we don't want all life to be extinct if there is an issue on Earth or something like that. I don't especially agree with this sentiment, but if tomorrow it turns out that life is actually common in the universe and we are not the only one here, I think that would be a huge change in mindset.
My background is a little bit unique. I'm not just a researcher and scientist. I'm also a trained pianist. I spent many hours practicing the piano when I was much younger. In fact, I pushed myself so hard that I ended up injuring my hand. And that experience of my injury was my turning point in my life. It forced me to explore completely different ways of using my body to play music. In the world of science, sports science exists to help athletes improve performance and prevent injuries. However, until recently, there was nothing similar for musicians. No one had established the science for musicians to support performance in the same way. I realized this gap over 20 years ago and began working to fill the gap.
When I was a child, I highly motivated by science fiction or animation like Astro Boy or Cyborg 009 or works by Isaac Asimov, Arthur Chad Clarke or William Gibson. So that kind of science fiction, fantasy, highly motivated to be a researcher. So I become a researcher to make science fiction, fantasy real. I want to make a better relationship between technology and humans. I created like a multi-touch, which is a direct manipulation. It's a manipulation error. But I think I will be a human being will be evolved to the next stage. The more I think seamless integration of AIs and humans, human mind. So in that sense, I want to contribute to that direction, and which is very exciting for me.
I'm more praised for a situation in which we have a symbiotic era, in which there is really the development of a sort of symbiotic intelligence. So somehow merging human intelligence with plant intelligence, which is very well known, with animal intelligence. And of course, AI in this case can be very important because can be somehow the mediator between all these different kind of intelligences. So my dream is to read, of course it will not be me, but read in the book history that there was a transition between the information age and the symbiotic age.
Qualia and Ikigai. These are really nuanced concepts which some people might find difficult to understand at the beginning, but hopefully with the passage of time, I think people will come to understand what these concepts are.
I'm hoping that it will be remembered as kind of being among the pioneers. Before we actually find anything, these people were thinking about how can we find something in a universe that is huge and that we cannot explore everything and we have very little data. How can we actually find something? And even if the methods that I propose end up not being successful, maybe people can build on it.
500 years, the rest is the history. But the history would tell how much important this kind of original seed. This is like Charles Darwin's The Origin of Species, but in this case, it's not only the natural world, it's how the human civilization can interact with the natural world and mutually develop and even co-evolve on 500-year scale. But actually, during the last 500 years, there's a really steep decline of biodiversity at the fastest level in the Earth's history. Not human history, but Earth's history. Then we have the present moment now. I'm working for this, how to turn this negative externalities around. And with this, I believe we could, for the first time, realize a kind of new civilization that will do some good for the natural world as well.
I believe I want to make it happen is like cybernetic humanity is a new definition of the humanity, and also those society and also many technology and society and the social systems is also based on those kinds of research discipline, cybernetic humanity. So in short, after 5 years later, cybernetic humanity is one of the display of the science.
Yeah, so I cannot say for certain about this whether my research direction will expand or not is something difficult to forecast.
So the type of agriculture that I'm working on is it's called the French method, which is a Parisian method for farming, and which exists and has been improved for over the past 200 years. So it's something that already exists in 200 years. And I hope it will continue to exist in 500 years. And I hope that, you know, the period we're working in now and my work will hopefully contribute to that.
At the core of my research is the combination of simple geometric elements like regular triangles, quadrilaterals, and hexagons. So I believe that attempts to create complex and artistic, beautiful shapes using only such simple design techniques will continue to be enjoyed by many people even 500 years from now.
Our research to contribute this trend to so that people 500 years from now look back at the history and then witness this transition retrospectively to say, wow, like, is it really true that people with neurodiverse profiles had to live and had to fit into this standardized society that was built mainly for typical or average individuals?
My research aims to make a long-lasting mark on how people make music even centuries from now. If someone writes about it in 500 years, I believe they will say it changed the very way musicians learn their skills.
How the 500 people will be remembered right now is quite different from the today's notion of the memory or like even the research. So in that case, I think that question itself is really narrow-minded. But I want to create a better relationship with the human or AI relationships, and that I think will start to change the definition of remember itself.
What I do is, of course, related to technology, but also it's fundamental research. So somehow, once we get a new structure, it will be like, how can I say, a new way to have a versatile structure to use in many different areas. So the same discovery can be used in potentially many applications. And as such, it's like now, if you look people doing AI, they still study some kind of geometry like Riemannian geometry or maybe information geometry. So discovering those geometric structure will stay forever, I think, and will open new possibilities.
Some research takes time and others, and this place, Sony CSL, really rather admire researchers trying those challenges to take time and make mistakes and make it happen in the end.
That kind of the translational research is what I wanted to, but I couldn't do. But thanks to Sony CSL, now I can realize what I wanted to do, and all for musicians.
People talk about diversity and inclusion. I think Sony CSL has been based on these really great principles from its starting days. So that's why I find Sony CSL to be my kind of place where I would like to be.
So Sony CSL is very, very interesting, unique zoo of human intelligence, but everybody is quite serious about what kind of future will be available, will be created by our own hand. So that is very, very interesting and very exciting space.
So just by chance, and I was lucky. Sony CSL is financing me. Thank you.
Even comparing with academia, actually, of course, I know, there are lights and shadows in academia, and of course, light and shadow in CSL, but I guess the kind of freedom we experience at CSL, it's unbearable.
One of the main merits of working at CSL is that you are very free to do the kind of research that you want to do, and also you can spend all your time on research if you want to.
CSL has big freedom. Yeah.
CSL is a place where you can push yourself, and basically there's no kind of limitation, and basically you can express your freedom, but you have also the duty of making your contribution valuable after some time. So it's a very challenging place, so I like it.
CSL is very free. So it is very important for every researcher. So, but for me, I feel that it is too harsh because free time is extremely large demand. Yeah.
This is a lab where indeed these societal questions can be tackled, and where we can have research that spans, several years to really dig into a topic.
I really like the concept of the Sony CSL to be on the borders. And CSL always open up my mind, and also encourage me to go beyond some boundaries, I guess. Anyway, it's not a huge research institute, but still, it's quite special. That's why I think I'm here.
I think CSL provides you the freedom. I think this is extremely important for the researchers to out-of-box idea, bold new challenge. You need freedom. And this is one of the most fundamental things. Demand is high. We demand people to actually go and change the world by themselves. We don't have a big team our big resource to provide. Then you have to really think through what you want to accomplish. If you want to accomplish in your life one thing that contributes to the future of humanity, what is that? That is essentially the question I am asking to the researchers. Your ideas will actually move people, motivate people to join you, and then you're going to actually, reiterate the sphere of influence going to be bigger and bigger. That's why I say it's a global influence projections. And you act beyond the border. You get your friend, you get your followers, you got stakeholders, so that you can start alone by yourself, but eventually 5 years and 10 years, you're gonna have a huge group of people and passionate about your visions and change the world together. And we have a flexibility for you to do that. I think this is the beauty of the CSL. It provides you the freedom to do that.